Hey guys, this is Adam from Miller's Custom Guitars, and I have an experiment today. And I just got a brand new guitar, and I'm just overjoyed. You know that feeling when you got a new guitar, you just can't stop playing it, you can't put it down, and that's what's happening for me every time I pick this guitar up. One of the things that happens with a new guitar, sometimes it's not always exactly perfectly playable right off the shelf or out of the box. You need to do a little bit of setup on it. And that's the case for me. It came set up with 10s. I need to switch it over to be set up with a slightly heavier gauge string. If that's the case for you, if you bought a new guitar recently and you need it set up just a little differently, or maybe you need a lower action or faster action or whatever, hit me up and we can take care of that action for you. But for me, I have an experiment I wanted to try before I switched it over, which is that I have some parts that I ordered for a project of mine that's down the road, which includes a Duesenberg Les-Trem vibrato. Here, let me go get it. Here we go. I got this Duesenberg Les-Trem vibrato. Now, Duesenberg engineered these vibrato tailpieces, and they're super cool. And they are designed to go on any hardtail style guitar. It uses the stop tailpiece, like a Les Paul or SG, or in my case I have an ES-335. And I'm wondering what would happen if I replaced the stop tailpiece and put this on there. I actually don't want to leave it set up like that. So I'm actually just going to loosen the strings all the way, remove the strings. I'm going to reinstall the strings with this in place of the stop tailpiece, reinstall the strings, and give it a go and see how it plays and how it feels. I actually am going to reinstall the stop tailpiece because I actually want to leave it as a hardtail. But I just think it would be really fun before I set this up for the heavier gauge strings, just to see how it feels and plays with the wiggle stick, with the gear shifter. So yeah, I'll show you how some of that modification happens. See if adding a Duesenberg Les-Trem 2 style vibrato to one of your stop tailpiece guitars might be a mod you might be interested in. And we'll see how that sounds and how that works. Alright, so I've done some of the preliminary work here. I got the strings off. So you can see I've got my beautiful Epiphone ES-335 here, brand new. And you can see it comes with the stop tailpiece. I've got the strings off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the stop tailpiece and then unscrew the studs. And then I have the Duesenberg Les-Trem. They have in the instructions that if this is touching part of the guitar, you can add spacers. In this case, it's not. The only thing that's touching is the felt here against the wood, which I believe it's supposed to. Then you use the appropriate bolts. Now it's really important on these screws that you tighten them, and you want them really tight, but you want to use the right type of wrench to tighten them. And I do have the right type of wrench. So this is actually a wrench that's specifically designed for this type of thing. Fits perfectly in these slots. Nice and tight. Okay, nice and tight. You can see that was a very easy installation. You can see for right now I have the arm out of this. We'll deal with the arm later. So now I'm going to reinstall the old strings And I'm doing that because I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this bar on there. So I'm going to try this with the old strings before I decide if I'm going to keep this setup. Now, if you were going to do a setup like this, you might consider using a roller bridge as well. In this case, I'm not going to, but I do have a roller bridge. So if it's something that I decide that I want to do, I might put that roller bridge on there as well. So I'm going to turn off now and then restring, and next time I'll see you, we will have a working guitar. Hey, a quick little installation update. So I bought this tremolo used, and one thing I realized is that this trem arm must not have come with this, and they must have thrown this in there because this trem arm does not fit this hole, which creates a lot of slop. So I'm going to try to get a proper fitting trem arm when I install this on whatever guitar. In the meantime, I've added a little bit of tape in here just to fill the hole properly, because otherwise it was too sloppy. And also I had originally installed the arm about here, and I ended up needing it down here. So that's where I have this tape here. We're going to reinstall this about like that. So actually the addition of the tape did the job I was trying to do. So actually the arm is nice and firm. So that should work great. Alright, so here I am. I've done the job. You can see I've got the Les-Trem, Duesenberg Les-Trem installed. As I mentioned, the trim arm that came with it, I got this used. So the trim arm definitely wasn't original. So there was a little bit of slop. I just put some tape around there temporarily until I can get the right trim arm in there. But my first impression is that it works pretty good. So let's give this some sound samples. So I've got this plugged directly into my vintage 1965 Fender Princeton, which is a blackface tube amp. No effects, no reverb, nothing. So let's try the neck pickup. Bridge pickup. I think it's pretty good. I mean, having played guitars with Bigsby's on them a lot, I find it much more responsive than a Bigsby tremolo. A lot more control. It feels much firmer. Like I feel like it stays in place like a Bigsby does, but then it has like the much more response and control like a Strat style tremolo. When you heard me try to dive bomb like a Strat, it didn't really like to do that. I felt like it was really struggling to do that. And it's kind of struggling to come back to tune from that. But you heard when I pulled back on it, it's basically back in tune. Yeah, I think it's a pretty impressive bridge tremolo system. So yeah, and it's a pretty simple modification. So that might be a tremolo system that you might consider putting on one of your stop tail bridge guitars. So yeah, if that might be a modification you'd be interested in doing one of your guitars, you can get in touch with me, or it's a pretty simple modification. It might be one that you might be interested in doing yourself. So there you go. Otherwise, hit me up. I'm Miller's Custom Guitars. See you next time.